Being that it's 7 o'clock, I'll call the meeting to order. Michelle, can you please read the sunshine law?
Let the minutes show that adequate notice of this meeting as required by Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, has been provided by the annual notice, which has been posted on the bulletin boards, filed with the Borough Clerk, and has been sent to the Asbury Park Press, the Independent, the Star Ledger, and the Two River Times. This is a regular meeting of the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Keyport, Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022.
Thank you. Can we please have a roll call?
Mayor Kennedy.
Here.
Council President McNamara.
Here.
Councilmember Pacheco.
Here.
Councilmember McDermott. Councilmember Davidson.
Here.
Councilmember Arania.
Here.
And Councilmember Pepperoni.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. If everyone could please join me in saluting the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If everyone could please remain standing for a moment of silence if they're choosing. Thank you. We do have one change on the agenda this evening before we go on to the next portion. On behalf of myself and the council members, we would like to take a moment to acknowledge Municipal Clerks Week. We have a proclamation held, we were able to pull this off as a surprise to Michelle was a miracle. Whereas the office of the municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of the local government, exists throughout the world, is the oldest among public servants. And whereas the municipal clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing body, and the agencies of government at other levels, and serves as the information center on functions of local government within the community. And whereas municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all. And whereas municipal clerks continually strive to improve the services provided through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and annual meetings of their county, state, international professional organizations. And whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize our municipal clerk, Michelle Clark, for her accomplishments and dedicated service to the Borough of Keyport, having been appointed March 2020, just as the COVID-19 pandemic began, and continuing to work tirelessly serving the community throughout the pandemic. Now, therefore, I, Colette Kennedy, together with the members of the Borough Council, hereby recognize the week of May 1st through May 7th as Municipal Clerks Week, and further recognize and extend appreciation to Michelle Clark, our municipal clerk, for the vital services she performs and her exemplary dedication to our community.
Thank you.
No, thank you. I think Jay should get in the picture.
One more on this side?
Yeah.
Perfect.
He's the one who works directly.
Going all the way. We're gonna do this a couple of times on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Be
You want the
safe.
mic moved?
We're gonna go into, very good, and one more. Great, thank you.
agenda. Does any council member have any questions or need anything tabled or pulled before we have public conversation? Jay, you said there was something you wanted to go over before we went.
Yes, just regarding the resolution that authorizes the submission of the Neighborhood Preservation Program grant for Community Capital Needs Funding. I distributed the hard copy of the grant application. This is, the grant requests supplemental funds for the Fireman's Park Bulkhead Project. As I think the council is aware, we recently, in March of this year, received notification that Keyport has been awarded a $450,000 grant under the current year federal omnibus appropriations bill. We are seeking an additional $900,000, requesting an additional $900,000 for construction costs related to the bulkhead and park improvement project, as well as $75,000 in funding for contract administration, design, and other related costs. Frankly, we do not expect to get the full funding, but I think the council is aware that this NPP supplement program is limited to only those municipalities that are presently participating. I believe that it limits the number to 40 communities in the state, and based on a number of factors, including the criteria that's being used to score and award these projects under this grant program, we feel that this has a high likelihood of success in receiving some funding.
Thank you. Councilmember McNamara?
I have a couple of things. I know this came up last year, the Resolution 126 and 127. Do we know how long they've been enacted for, those licenses?
Just to clarify, these two resolutions are not technically renewing them for the current year. They are clarifying the renewal that was approved last year.
Okay, so it's really not something new.
That's correct. The regular renewal for the license term that begins July 1 will be coming up in a meeting in the near future once they actually submit the application. This was a clarification that was requested through the Division of Alcoholic Beverage Control based on the special ruling that was granted by the director last year. So they just, it's just clarifying that the renewal last year was for the one-year period. Even though the
Okay.
special ruling is for a two-year period, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Thank you.
And we will have that information regarding the status of these two inactive licenses at the time.
Okay. And then I guess the Historical Society, I thought we had tabled that because it's on the budget anyway, so I don't know if that is still something that we want on here, I don't know, on the consent. And then payment of bills, I just had a couple things. Let's see, page 2, BMW Construction, says like Route 35, about $25,000. Is that part of something, like a larger project, or?
No, as noted, that is emergency repair that was done on Route 35 back in, I don't have the paperwork in front of me, but I believe it was back in January, perhaps trying to remember that.
January 2022.
Okay. And the first trust stuff, can you just explain that? I think that's like $37,000. Right after that, the certificate and
Oh, the
redemption
Christiana.
penalty and,
Yes, this is a redemption of a tax sale certificate. Property that remains, the taxes remain unpaid at the end of the year and subject to a tax sale. Typically, in that process, an outside investor purchases the lien by making payments to the borough. This reflects the closeout of that, where the property owner has paid off the lien to the borough, and this is the redemption of the certificate to the investor.
all I have, thank you. Oh, wait, I'm sorry, I do have one. The fire hydrant that was done, what location was that? That's on page 4.
That was on, actually the, page
Do you
4.
know?
This is the core main. These are actually, if you can bear with me and read through the explanation. It's a main valve repair kit, so these are repairs, presumably for either the hydrant on First and Atlantic, or these could also be just spare parts on hand for any work that needs to be done.
Okay, it wasn't one of the ones that was totally not operational, right?
I believe, although I can't say with certainty, that these repair parts are for the First and Atlantic.
Okay. Thank you, that's it.
Thank you. On page 8, payment of bills, R22-123. For the trailer for Lockton Road, what is that for?
That is a trailer for the landscaping crew.
Okay. And that comes out of the Open Space Trust?
Yes, this is charged to the Open Space Trust under our maintenance of facilities.
So do we only use that for the bayfront, being as it's from the Brit account?
All of our, it is not just, actually, this is not the Brit account. The Brit account is listed as Bayfront Recreation Trust. This is our general open space and recreation trust. So the equipment that's purchased is used for all of our parks and recreation, including the waterfront.
So last year when we had landscaping, the landscaping was also done out of the Open Trust?
It was split between the Open Space Trust and the Bayfront Waterfront Brit.
Okay, and did we get 3 quotes on that?
On the trailer, we have 2 quotes.
Okay.
We're required to have more than one, although this actually fell below the quote threshold.
Councilwoman Turner, for the record, we have from our Councilwoman Turner.
With communication number, the Art Society, I don't see a fee. Is that fee paid? Do you know? Communication number 3.
No, they requested a waiver of the fee.
The other concern, that's the same day as the town, the town wide art sale. I know that's noted in there for 2 cars. So that's something else to kind of consider. The other thing is with the KBBC events, the witchcraft, have all concerns been addressed? I know there were some questions.
Yes, there were most of the issues have been addressed. There are a couple of small outstanding ones, but they will be worked out between now and the time of the event.
Okay, so we don't see issues with, regarding the borough, we don't see any issues.
No, it is just requires coordination, but I think all of the questions have been addressed.
Okay, I just want to make sure. And also for the school, communication number 4, the application for the use of the waterfront. I don't think we typically charge the school fee. I just wanted to confirm if we do or not. Because we already have shared services with them.
They do not charge us for use of
Right.
facilities, we do not charge them, being that they're taxpayer funded.
Right, I just wanted to confirm that.
I was just wondering on the communication number 3, if they were asking for a waiver of fees, and if they are, is that moving forward at another time, or is that part of receiving filing, taking that? If we approve the communication, did we approve the waiver of fees? Or is that, or?
I think and it's in the email thread with that communication that they're requesting the fee waiver, so, I don't know, I believe that that's the guidance. I don't know if any
because I think part of the conversation last time was that if we leave this where it is for approval, especially because they're asking for a certain amount, that was like almost acknowledging that we were gonna do that versus whether or not it was possible to just do it as a receive and file, like as a request. But instead it just got tabled. So since it's back there, I don't know how we address it right now, because obviously budget is next meeting for finalizing. So it's not even just,
Yeah, I don't know how it got put in the intro when everyone that was here that was present that night said it wasn't going to be, so, and then it ended up being hearing in the intro. So I wasn't here at that meeting, so I'm not sure. So I'll defer later when we get to that part of the agenda, so Leslie to address how we can do that. So any other further comment? Yes, Councilmember
I
Chapman?
actually had similar questions about the event that had the conflicting dates, but you were okay with that, right? You didn't see any concerns, Chief?
For what?
No, I'm talking to Chief, sorry.
So we did vet each event and expressed our, whatever there was issues, we just put it up to the borough to show our concerns. So we don't make the final decision on events, we just
No, I'm
express
just wondering
what could be a
like
conflict.
what your thoughts were. Okay.
Yeah, we put it in there that could be a conflict as far as traffic, but we just like to notify you guys, hey, look, there's 2 events on this day, you might wanna make sure that they coordinate their talk.
because I
And
think,
Ms. Steve, by her communication, she is aware of that, so she's.
and they're
even
willing to
offering
change it
everything.
if we think it's an issue. Yeah.
I
Right.
know, good idea,
That's why I wanted to maybe
Yeah.
have that conversation.
thank you.
What's the event?
Anyone?
Oh, that one.
For resolution and.
That one as well.
Motion? No.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Portion of the meeting is for resolution and communication discussion only. Anyone have any comments?
You can comment on it if you want.
Stuart Ball, 54 Second Street. Under communication, number 10, why is that being received and filed?
Because the letter was addressed to the borough, so I usually like the governing body to be aware that that's when the application process is, that we're allowed to submit for application.
Shouldn't that be turned over to Jay?
Yeah, he received it also, that way the governing body is aware that the application process is open.
So it's a receive and file? Okay. I guess this still falls under being that Ms. McNamara asked you a question. You said you weren't here for the last meeting. Did you listen to the last meeting?
No?
No. Thank you very much.
Mr. Rupp?
If you want.
John Merla, 34 Broad Street. Just a follow-up to Councilmember Raniel's question regarding the payment of bills regarding locked and loaded, the trailer. Mr. Delaney, my question is procedural. Do we still do in the borough, the way it was done years ago, a purchase order is signed by the CFO certifying that the funds are available, the department head signs off, and also the person that represents that individual department on the council, or is that long ago?
The council does not review purchase requests prior. There's a requisition that is submitted to prepare the PO, and then the purchase order is signed by the CFO certifying that funds are available.
Okay, so basically then, all the purchasing is done through yourself and Tom Fallon?
And the department supervisor, if it's a purchase that is requested through a department.
Okay. So
Can I
that,
just answer that actually, please? Mr. Merla? This change took place before Mr. Delaney was here, and that was through guidance from the CFO and the business administrator at the time, because of a state statute that was put in place for procurement guidelines, trying to have municipalities pay the invoices within 30 days. So I believe that was why we were suggested that the governing body was no longer going to be signing off on all of them. I can tell you that myself and several other governing body members were not happy with that, but it moved forward anyway.
okay, I appreciate that, just because, if a piece of equipment should show up or, you know, like a new car tomorrow, and let's just say the new car was for Public Works, and they didn't even know that they were getting it, or it wasn't put in the budget. See, I didn't know if this trailer was purchased for Public Works, or if it was purchased for recreation, because Mr. Delaney did use the word recreation and for the landscape purposes. So that's, just draws a question, because the checks and balance would be, when you just said, the department head, as a council member, liaison, signing off, because then they could have said tonight, you know, I'm aware of this, and I signed off on it because I need it for this department. Thank you.
Any other members of the public? Mr. Grant?
Robert J. Grant Jr., 22 St. Peter's Place. A couple of questions on Resolution 2022-126. Can you all explain what that's about?
Yes, Jay, do you mind repeating, what that one is?
Yes, this is a resolution that is clarifying the approval that was granted last year for the license renewal of one of our inactive liquor licenses in town. And this is simply clarifying that the renewal was only for the license term from July 1 of 2021 to June 30 of 2022. The underlying story is that the renewal, because it's an inactive license, required a special ruling from the director of the division of ABC. The director's special ruling covers a 2-year period. So this is just clarifying that while the special ruling was received for 2 years, the renewal was only for the 1-year term.
Okay.
And that's the same for number 27.
And that's the same for 27. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Lance?
Good evening, Mayor, members of council.
Good evening.
In response to Councilwoman McNamara's question about, for how long have these pocket licenses existed? The sixth broad license became not located right after Sandy, because Sandy destroyed the building. And the applicant was given an extension based on the fact the building had been heavily damaged. But it's been 11 years since Sandy. So I think both of these licenses have quite an extended period of time. But that's easily checked. The resolution 125, the funding for the NTP project for the bulkhead. I've had some experience with the promenade bulkhead, the bulkhead on First Street. So, a couple basic questions. Have you worked with the borough engineer to generate a statement of work and an estimate for each item in the statement of work? And I think it's critical that you get an insight into how many millions of dollars it's going to take to do this project. The bulkhead that was done on the promenade back before Sandy was $3,000 a linear foot of bulkhead. But that also included a splash pad, included elevating the ground behind the bulkhead. The promenade bulkhead, when it was first proposed by Birdsall Engineering, was to have a bulkhead that extended about 3 feet above the concrete walk along the bulkhead. The Army Corps of Engineers quickly vetoed that. And both the Army Corps of Engineers and New Jersey state requirements say that the ground abutting the bulkhead has to be at the top of the bulkhead. You have to have a splash pad of concrete paralleling the bulkhead. You have to add fill in the parking lot, and you have to pave it. And you've got to deal with the fact that if Port 149 does not bulkhead at the same level, and again, seal it with elevation and splash pad, you have to put a return in from the bulkhead all the way up to west front, which is a couple of 100 feet. And so, as managers, you need to get the statement of work, you need to get the estimate for each item in the statement of work. And we certainly have plenty of experience to be able to generate that. And so I encourage you to do that up front.
Thank you.
Resolution 124, the Youth League grant. I think that's great that you got a grant and no matching funds. I'm just curious what the focus is going to be. Whether it's going to be cannabis, vaping, leadership. Is there somewhere that the focus is described?
Sure. As you indicated, Mr. Lane, this is for leadership, specifically. Let me get it in front of me. This is a program that is funded through the New Jersey Division of Mental Health and Addiction Services. The focus is on youth leadership, and the specifics of the funding must use one of the following. Cannabis education is one of the options, as well as youth leadership councils, peer leadership programs, youth mental health first aid, resiliency programs, vaping programs, and other community strength-based youth programs. So this funding would go to the Municipal Alliance Committee for review and recommendation on which one of those components they wish to vote on.
So do they put together an objective document in terms of what they want to achieve with this funding?
I can't speak to the specifics of the program requirements, but between the Alliance Committee acting in an advisory capacity and the Municipal Alliance Coordinator under the guidance of the JCATA, the Governor's Council on Alcohol and Drug Addiction, they would develop a program that meets the grant requirements.
Thank you. Just comment on what Mr. Wallen mentioned, communications number 10, I think it was, having to do with funding that's available. And I looked at the list of funding. I would think that should really be a high priority to get those applications in. Thank you.
Any other members of the public? Okay.
Melissa O'Connell, property owner in Broad Street, also KBBC. That's a good thing or a bad thing, but, so I just have a question. I know the events came up. Does that mean they're cool, like I can go to print, or
We still have to vote on everything soon.
tonight?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Then I'll wait.
Any other members of the public? All those opposed?
Motion, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, mayor's updates, just want to commend KBBC leadership, for their successful stakeholders breakfast that they held last week. Also, their, request the governing body approved for their, Sundays, on the bay. The music started this past Sunday, so I encourage everyone to farmer's market, which is going to be in the mini park along with other vendors throughout the season in addition to Harvester Hill and Penelope. So thank you to KVPC for working on those initiatives and cleaning up the processes. The other announcements would be that this Saturday is the public meetings for applicants requesting cannabis. That meeting will be this Saturday at noon, which is a public meeting. And also this Saturday at 6 p.m. in Fireman's Lab is the annual fireman's inspection. And we are very fortunate to have a very dedicated team of volunteers on our fire department. Also the first aid will be there. So I encourage all residents to come out and cheer them on and thank them for their service and look at all of the equipment that they have to serve our borough in emergencies. Next we'll go on to the consent agenda. It's just a matter of, pleasure of the governing body. Is there a motion to approve our 2022-122 through our 2022-125?
Motion.
Second.
Have a roll call.
Councilmember Pacheco.
Yes.
Councilmember McDermott.
Yes.
Councilmember Davidson.
Yes.
Councilmember McNamara.
Yes.
Councilmember O'Reilly.
Yes.
And Councilmember Pepperoni.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next on the agenda, we have introduction of ordinances, boundary line, and access agreement with 149 West Front Street. Michelle, can you please read it by title?
This is an ordinance of the Borough of Eastport County of Monmouth, New Jersey, authorizing the boundary line and access agreement with 149 West Front Street.
Can I have a motion to introduce?
Motion.
Second.
Can I have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Pacheco.
Yes.
Councilmember McDermott. Councilmember Davidson.
Yes.
Councilmember McNamara.
Yes.
Councilmember O'Reilly.
Yes.
And Councilmember Pepperoni.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have communications by consent. We have items number 1 through 7 for approval listed, and items 8 through 10. Oh, I lied to you. Is that publishing thing? Sorry. Can I have a motion authorizing the clerk to publish the ordinance as introduced in the Asbury Park Press for public hearing?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or no? Communications by consent. We have for approval 1 through 7 listed and to receive and file number 8, 9, and 10. I'll refer to Jay or Leslie about communication number 1 and the discussions that took place tonight.
You can move it to receive and file, take it from approval.
So that would, I would need a motion for them to do that.
Yes.
So do we motion for that first, or is that, can that be part of the motion?
It could be one combined motion if you want.
Are there any other conversations regarding the communications? If I may, I would suggest that the Art Society have a different date. I think that is a little busy, but I agree with that.
We can make a motion or put that to direct it to.
I don't know if they want to discuss that, I don't know.
Do they know, do they give any other?
They
that
didn't give
was
a
that was
date,
the
they
only
did
other day.
express
They
the
can-
willingness to move it. I just wanted to have the discussion because I know,
She said that.
I know that the chief, and I know Melissa's here, and I know that you guys also spoke as well.
Yeah.
Do I have to open it, talk to Melissa?
No, I think, my suggestion would be that we table that one and we have a dialogue with the Art Society
Okay.
between now and Tuesday, so that we can
Yeah.
see if they can put in, if they're open to another date, then we'll know. And if not, then,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
Did you think it was?
I don't, do we make a motion to table that separate?
if that's what you guys are deciding.
Motion to table, what is that, number 3? Motion to table number 3? Pending discussion with the Art Society.
Okay. Second or second, so we need a roll call table. Roll call.
Councilmember Pacheco.
Oh, yes, sorry, I was just going through them.
Councilmember McDermott.
Yes.
Councilmember Davidson.
Yes.
Councilmember McNamara.
Yes.
Councilmember O'Reilly.
Yes.
Councilmember Pepperoni.
Yes.
Can you please identify who the point person is that's gonna be speaking with the Art Society, so this doesn't fall through the cracks, Jay? Michelle? Who is it submitted to?
It's the other factor about the fees, asking for
I'd be happy to reach out and request an alternate date be provided.
Are there any other conversations? May I ask for a motion? We have to get a motion with what we're doing for item number 1, as we part of the motion.
Or table.
Move to
Number
receive
1,
and file.
move number 1 to receive and file.
Oh, yes, I have everything. Yes.
Someone can motion.
I'll make a
nobody
motion.
motioned. Sorry, I
Yeah,
thought it was seconding.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to move item number 1, the letter from the Newport Historical Society to receive and file, and approve items 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and receive and file 8, 9, and 10.
Yeah.
And 1.
Is there a second?
Second?
Have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Pacheco.
Yes.
Councilmember McDermott.
Yes.
Councilmember Davidson.
Yes.
Councilmember McNamara.
Yes.
Councilmember Romeo.
Yes.
Councilmember Pepperoni.
Yes.
Thank you. Any governing members have unfinished business? Isaiah's update, do you have anything?
I do. Thank you, Mayor. April 2022, we participated in the distracted driving crackdown. In total, it was 157 motor vehicle stops that were made, 88 summons were issued, 23 cell phone violations, 10 careless driving, 2 suspended drivers, 1 arrest, and 53 other various motor vehicle violations. April also ended our second quarter of our Bayshore Saturation Patrol. Some people refer to it as the DWI Patrol, but it's a Bayshore Saturation Grant. Our officers participated in 11 roaming DWI patrols, totaling 79 hours. During those patrols, 104 motor vehicle stops were made, 52 summons were issued, and of all different various motor vehicle violations.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick update, as I think everyone is aware, last Friday, on the 22nd, we experienced a major water break on Deer Street. That work was repaired under an emergency contract by BMW contractors. I think everyone, I would certainly like to thank, I know the mayor has expressed thanks as well to the various departments and volunteers within the community, police, fire, OEM, CERT. There were a number of aspects, and pretty much it was all hands on deck. In any event, we are now dealing with the repercussions of that leak in terms of both the cost as well as the road repairs. Actually, I've asked Trevor to fill in the blanks here, but we received as of today the second quote that we were waiting for. We expect the contract to be awarded tomorrow or no later than Thursday for the road repair. And that work we expect to be scheduled for next week. That's still on the table, Trevor, is that correct?
Yes.
We do expect also that the total cost between the water repair and the road repair will be in excess of $200,000. We will be dealing with that more fully at our next meeting in terms of the emergency contracts that have been awarded. We're looking at a number of options in terms of how we actually finance those payments. So that's the status of the Deer Street repair. As I said, that work should take, we should be able to reopen the road once the road is broken open and we determine that all of the voids that were presumably are there have been corrected. The road will be safe to be reopened.
Thank you. May I have one update if I can? Sure. I forgot to add this in, I wasn't sure if you were gonna, county said they are gonna start with the speed limit signs Mondays and Fridays. They'll begin within the next few weeks. I know Keyport's on their list in order. They'll also be paving the crosswalk as they did follow up with 500 Broad. You'll see them out striping and following up with our requests.
Thank you. Trevor?
Thank you, Mayor. First Street Bridge, county contractor was out there paving, base paving today. Hopefully if the weather holds off, we'll be able to complete paving tomorrow, most likely going to be Thursday. So they're planning on opening the road either Friday or Monday, depending on the weather. So that's good news on that front. As far as Church Street, the water improvements are completed this time. They moved on to the concrete work, and they have another probably 2 or 3 weeks worth of concrete work that needs to get done, and then they're planning on starting some base paving, hopefully again tomorrow, weather permitting, if not, hopefully Friday. So that'll get the base paving done on the first couple of blocks from Maple Place. And we had the CAP public hearing last week. I think that went pretty well. We had a lot of good input on that, so we'll be working on finalizing the preliminary plans and getting those over to the DOT for approval.
Thank you. Can I just ask for clarification on the First Street Bridge project? Some of the roadway closure in that area is also for improvements to 333 First Street Development Project.
Mm-hmm.
So when the bridge is done, are all of the road closure projects for 333 First Street also complete? So when the county is ready to open, is it open, or are we still going to have a small portion closed because of 333 First Street?
So it will be open, but 353 First Street is responsible to remove all the concrete along the frontage and pave the road. So obviously when that work is going to be done, it's going to be, Walnut Street will be closed again when they do that work. But First Street will be open for the duration because all the work on First Street is complete.
So there'll be periodic closures after?
Hopefully once they start working, they'll get everything done that they need to get done, so it shouldn't be start, finish. It should be one closure, get the work done, and then open up Walnut Street.
Do we have an estimated time frame on that?
I don't, I can reach out to them and see.
Because if it's a matter of a week, you know, I don't, the residents are gonna get used to, we're gonna take down the no parking signs, the truck traffic pattern's gonna change back to norm, and then we're gonna take it away. Like, I just would like that to be checked to see what kind of time frame we're looking at for that project.
Sure.
Also, can you just provide an update on the totality in both the borough project and the county plans for what's going to be happening to Broad Street this year as far as paving ramps and where curbing will be?
Sure. We have a project that bid right now. The bid date is May 10th, so next week, for the curb ramps between Maple and 36, as well as the work at Rachin Avenue from the apartments. So that work will be going on in the summer when school is out, obviously, and then the county will be coming in following up paving Broad Street from 35 and has it all the way through, all the way up to Westbrook Street. And that's anticipated to be done this fall.
Okay. Can we also coordinate that to work with school, maybe during some of their like NJDA conferences or something like that? So
Sure.
if that is going to impact school for sure. We're doing between Monroe and Hurley. Thank you. Someone over here have a question for Trevor?
No, I can, it wasn't a question.
I thought I heard you.
No, I did, but it's fine. I kind of answered my own question.
Okay.
Okay. Two questions. There was work done on East Third Street, I think it was wrap up as part of Church Street, we could explain that. And then the other thing would be, I know last meeting we talked about, working with the county on dredging, or cleaning up some of the path, in the Hudson Trail with the county, if there's any updates from that.
Sure. So I'll start with the second one first. I did send a letter to the county requesting a follow-up on that. I sent that to the engineering department and the parks department. I have not heard back from them, so I'll definitely reach out to them and try to get a schedule as to when we can continue that work. We did start the work, but they have not completed it, and we did ask for them to extend the ditch from where it currently ends at the pipe that goes under the Henry Hudson Trail at Manchester, all the way east to cross under Fulton Street, where it then would then continue to the creek, because right now it goes under the Henry Hudson Trail just to come back under the Henry Hudson Trail again further east. So we're looking to eliminate those crossings. So that letter was sent to them. I'll follow up with them for a response. As far as the drainage work on East 3rd Street, the contractor did start that last week. They did one structure. They have to come back and get the second structure in. Hopefully that will be done next week. We'll get a formal schedule from them, but they did say they want to get that done within last week and this week. I think with the weather they got pushed off. So I will get a schedule for them, but hopefully it'll be done next week.
And just for everyone to understand, this is also part of the ongoing project to make sure we don't have flooding going down 3rd Street, right?
Correct.
It's part of it's not just East 3rd Street getting fixed.
Correct.
Make sure that's clarified out there. And the other thing would be that I do appreciate, thank you for sending communications to the residents that the person handling the project, that was very helpful to the neighbors in the area. So I want to say thank you from being here.
No problem.
I'm just gonna take this moment to remind the governing body that a few meetings ago, when we brought up the Broad Street improvements, it was discussed whether, going forward with complete streets for not being one way. I have not received anything, I don't know if MJ has received anything, but I would suggest no later than June 1st, that if anyone is gonna propose that we ask the county to turn that, any portion of Broad Street to one way, that it is to us know, to the governing body, that we is only one meeting. So, that would have to be approved to go to the county first, and they're gonna probably be going out to bid already, so they would need to know this as a scope of work project request. So, again, I'm just on record, if that's the pleasure of council, I suggest someone get something moving to Leslie and Jay and Trevor, ASAP.
So what do we need to do to get that?
Is there governing body members that want to work on that and see if that request will go forward?
Yeah.
Councilmember Pacheco and Councilmember McDermott, do you both want to work on that and take the lead and?
That's fine.
Yeah, look up the preliminary plans and stuff like that.
Trevor?
Yeah.
Thank you. Have a motion to open to the public from a 5-minute person.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. President?
Andrew Kelsey, 29 St. Peters. The date for that the Art Society is requesting, that was in conflict with what was it?
Countywide northbound and sidewalk.
Yeah, I would, my suggestion is to allow it to happen on the same day. I think it's great to have two events on one day, unless they're gonna cause gridlock in the town, which I don't think these two are. We're gonna, it's very possible that, you're gonna draw people in for one thing and they'll see the other thing and want to participate. I think it's a good synergy to have, so please take that into consideration. The water main break, I'm sure everybody understands this, but, not performing maintenance always costs more in the long run. And, we're just not doing enough maintenance in town. So I don't know if there's a plan, if somebody's working on a plan to get this stuff moving forward, I really encourage you to do so. That's all, thank you.
I'll take a minute to speak to that. Recently, the governing body approved, an increase in the water rates so that a better capital plan can be developed, because for the last 2 decades, there wasn't a capital plan, and then last year, and a more extensive capital plan was initiated by Mr. Delaney. And also, interestingly enough, the water main that broke was not the newest, but a lot newer than a lot of the other pipes within the municipality. So I think that was part of the express shock value, I guess is the right term, is that where that actually took place. Mr. Morello?
Just to follow up, John Morello, 34 Broad Street, to Mr. Kelsey's comment and Mr. Delaney and the borough engineer. the $200,000 mark, or estimate, does that include the loss of the water?
It does not, those are direct repair costs and, road repairs as well.
So it could be a lot more, obviously.
Yes.
Okay. Here's a suggestion. You know, we all know we don't have the money to do a lot of repairs. But we do have the money to hire a leak detection firm to come in and analyze the whole town. They did it in Ramsey. It saved that municipality much, much money. A firm comes in. One of the firms that I've seen is called NewTek. They come in and they just check for leaks. And at least it gives you an opportunity to know if there is a leak. This pipe on Beer Street, you know, like the mayor said, that was 1974. The only time they disturbed that is when the apartments across the street from 50 Beers were built. They made a tap into that line. I don't know if they did damage, who knows? But these lines underground aren't insured, right?
That's correct.
That's correct. So we have no insurance. So our insurance to our residents should be, if we look for leaks, we might find them and we might save a big bill in the long run. Just a suggestion. The second item I have is the floodgates. Are they setting up, or, I mean seriously, another summer, or are they just gonna come down? What's the plan? They're not being utilized.
Yeah, the plan is to modify them so that they are more usable and safe. They are not going to be used until they can be used safely.
Okay. And my third issue is that, I think the town needs to look at this real close, the proper departments. 213 Broad Street is the Scenic View Landscape property. That property runs along Maple and Beers. On the Maple side, there is now a driveway road that exits that property onto Maple Place. Okay, no permits were issued for that. Driveway was just put in. Now the landscape crews in the morning exit onto Maple. Who, you know, this just gets approved or just gets done, and, you know, the county has no idea that that was ever done, because there was no permits taken. You know, I'm sure the police department should have been involved, since it's, regarding traffic onto Maple. Is it safe? There's no stop sign coming out of the property saying you must stop before you enter Maple Place. No disrespect, but you come out of there and you can go right onto Maple Place, because there is no stop sign. So these things happen, and for some reason, nobody sees them. But they see illegal banners up all over town and signs that aren't allowed, and they come down awful quick. This is a serious concern. It should be a serious concern to all of you, because one accident, and now I've brought it up. So take a good look at it. Thank you.
George Wallen, 52nd Street. This question's for the two candidates that are running for mayor. If either one of you get elected, hopefully it'll be one of you, could you please put the attachments back on the agenda? Thank you. And second of all, can we get a report monthly from the borough administrator, which we're not getting now? Thank you very much.
Mr. Graham?
Albert J. Graham Senior, 22 St. Peter's Place. As you all know, an event happened, nearly tragic event happened not too long ago in our borough, when it made the news when there was a fire in our borough not too long ago. A few of the cars were, I believe it was few vehicles were destroyed and everything like that. Some damage occurred as a result of that fire, I'm gonna get back to getting to the fire extinguishers that are throughout our borough. The fire hydrants that are throughout our borough. What's being done to fix these and repair these damaged fire hydrants throughout the borough? In my opinion, and I would speak for a lot of people, but no fire hydrant should be damaged in our borough. Suppose God forbid there's a major fire in our borough, what's being done about these damaged fire hydrants around our borough? Broken fire hydrants,
Show you that in the capital plan,
It is.
okay?
that's in the budget introduction.
Okay,
We're voting on it the next meeting.
yeah, but anyway, they need to be fixed as soon as possible. This has gone back a few years now, and there's no excuse for it.
I agree.
Thank you.
Mr. Lane?
Winning so far.
I want to say, I'm really looking forward to the 25-mile-an-hour speed limit sign. And enforcement from our outstanding police department.
We know you are.
Second issue is the flood damage prevention ordinance. I just paid my flood insurance bill, and then the 32 years that I've lived here in Keyport, I have contributed almost $50,000
Well, look at that view.
to the FEMA flood insurance program. And it's really important that the new flood damage prevention ordinance get passed. Trevor, what's the latest on that?
Actually, I should have included that in my report today, but I actually spoke to the DEP yesterday, just wrapping up the last couple comments that they had, and hopefully, if not next council meeting, the following council meeting, it should be on for introduction.
And it has to be done by what date?
It's, July.
I can't emphasize how important that is, because my yearly bill will go from about $1,600 to about $16,000 if we don't get this in place. And it's very clear when I fill out my forms for the flood insurance renewal that it's a requirement that this be in place.
The view.
Mention a couple things. On unfinished business, or I'm sorry, on closed session, you have the post office contract and the post office issue. Share a couple thoughts with you. When we did the master plan update, one of the things we thought naively was the post office ought to move out to the corner of Maple and Broad, where the landscaping business is. That would have been where the old Schultz Oil was. We thought that would have been fantastic. But there's another alternative. We approved mixed use in the downtown. The post office is in really a prime waterfront location. It's wasted. They don't use the waterfront opportunity. But with mixed use, it would be the post office on the first floor and up to an elevation of 70 feet, datum 88, residential use. And so I want to emphasize, we really need to take advantage of that location. Also, we naively gave them a 25 or 30-year contract with no inflation factor. The number is just absurd that they're paying for rent right now. Division Street Basin flooding. I'm really discouraged that that's not a priority item and that you're not going to get that taken care of this year. I don't understand that. Those businesses are at risk. Utility pole maintenance. You walk down First Street, and you can't see, I don't know why this can't get on the list. The telephone poles, the power poles are just wrapped with multiple disconnects of internet services. And it's just there's no excuse. And when is that gonna make the list? Finally, it's great to hear we're gonna push the Henry Hudson Trail, project, cleanup all the way to Fulton, really needed. The public meeting on the pedestrian safety improvement program. I sort of left that meeting with like I got a half a loaf. It's great to get some progress, it's great to get a half a loaf, but we didn't get the whole thing. We didn't achieve the objective that we set out to 6 years ago. And I'll give you a couple examples. And here we're still gonna work the problem of getting a four-way stops at Atlantic and First and at First and Broad. Trevor, is the sketch for First Street that was at the meeting, is that available to the public to look at?
Make it available to the public? I'm not sure if you want to post that on the website or.
No, I'm just, if I can come into the,
We have the display boards that were used at the public session are available for review.
okay, so they're in the public session. I mentioned to Trevor a couple things. One, and I'll be documenting it to Jay and the members of council and Trevor. The original plan was to have a crosswalk at the corner of First and Church. I think that can be done. I will put some documentation together on that. The other is the condition, and documented this multiple times, and I'm going to document it again, of the sidewalks. The sidewalks from Borough Hall to Broadway are fantastic compared to the 5 sidewalks on First Street. And I have documented this in multiple emails, which I will again distribute to members of council and to Jay and Trevor. Thank you.
Any other members of the public? Seeing no hands, there a motion to close the public?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Closed session will be?
Yes. Whereas NJSA 10:4-12 provides that a closed session not open to the public may be held for certain specified purposes when authorized by resolution. Whereas it is necessary for the borough to discuss in a session not open to the public matters relating to negotiations involving Mariners Village, Arena, Arrow Marine, Keyport Post Office, collective bargaining updates, and a matter within the attorney-client privilege involving a property dispute. Now therefore be it resolved, Mayor and Council of the Borough of Keyport, City of New Jersey, assembled in public session, and determined that a closed session not open to the public shall be held for the items just discussed. No action is expected to be taken.
Motion to close the, motion going to close, motion.
Second.
Aye. So that time we need to close the public.
Mayor,